Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live. As always, I am your host, Josh Lilquist, and we've had a good time on the show here today. A lot of discussion and banter with my co-host, Al Connickson, here today about, first off, in the first segment here, talking about what's happening in the markets, earnings, the Fed, are they going to raise rates, are they not going to raise rates, forward guidance as far as what could potentially be happening, but also who moves the markets. And what you need to make smart investing decisions is an actual recipe, which is a strategy,
Right.
A step-by-step strategy to get in your positions, but also when to get out. And that's how you have low risk, high reward, high probability entry points is really at or near current a turn in price, but being able to have proper capital management wrapped around that so you do not have to be right every time. We covered a couple things about using leverage in the markets. People are looking for extra income. That's how you build wealth, and how to use leverage wisely so you're not putting all of your capital in the market. We talked about that in the last segment. And we had a lot of people texting in for this investing class. I want to congratulate those that did get set up for that investing class here at the Academy, but also investing classes all across the metro. If you did miss that, we're in a neighborhood near you. Just simply text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for an investing class. Now, when you do that, you're going to get a text right back, and that's going to be a link to our landing page so you can pick your own date. When you do that, you can pick your own location as well. Since we're all across the metro, you can pick wherever that is geographically desirable for you. Text investing to the number 210-210. We also appreciate and love our subscribers in the podcast. Boy, this podcast is just booming right now. We are going to make this the number one global financial podcast on the financial markets at one point. So go to Investing and Trading Live, wherever you listen to podcasts, main ones that everybody knows about, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Now, I wanted to kind of end the last segment there about having a secret sauce in the market, a magical indicator, a magical thing that's going to help your trading and investing. But I didn't do that because there is nothing that exists. Because there's no magic sauce in the markets. There's no magical indicator. There's no magical thing that's out there. But what you can have is a magical strategy. And is it magical? No. But it could be if you actually follow it. If you follow the steps. If you follow the odds. If you have proper capital management. Could this change your life? Could this change your life financially? It's a possibility. But you don't know unless you start. Right? So in the markets, it takes action and being decisive. Now, especially when people are looking to help or enhance or create their retirement account. It's going to take some action. It's not just going to be, oh, honey, I hope that the market goes up, and then when we retire, it's at the all-time high, and then we're at the richest we've ever been. Now, if you talk to anybody that's retired over the past 30 years, not many of them are going to probably say that. Most people will probably say, I wish I would have did things a little bit differently. I wish I would have invested more wisely. Maybe did it myself because I had fees taken out of it by brokers and advisors every single year. And really that decimates a retirement account is years and years and years of fees. So we're seeing more and more people want to be able to self-direct those accounts. So let's talk about those retirement strategies now, Al, because now it's an important time. Markets they're up, right? They could go higher, it's possible. They could go lower, it's possible. But if you had a retirement strategy where it didn't matter which way the market goes, wouldn't that help an individual sleep much better at night? So I want you to talk about some different strategies where you're seeing I know you get a lot of comments about people having a strategy, and they actually have a strategy, but they're able to sleep better at night knowing their retirements are safe, but also they have strategies to profit in any direction.
Yeah, I think the ideal combination of things as far as your retirement savings, your retirement investments, is 3 components. Number 1 is protection. You probably worked, if you're retired now, you're just getting ready to retire, you probably worked 30, 40 years, and during those 30 or 40 years, hopefully you've been able to put some money aside into a retirement program of some sort, maybe an IRA, maybe a 401k, 403b. That's money that you've worked hard for. You can't let that be taken away from you. Can it? Well, listen, if we go into a bear market, which we did in the year 2000, which we did in the year 2007, which we did in the year 2022, That's a 20% drawdown. In the year 2000, the market went down over 50%. In the year 2007 through early 2009, it was down 57%. That was the S&P 500. Depending on what you're invested in, you could have actually lost more. So that could happen. The market never is going to go in one direction consistently without some kind of a correction, whether it's going up or down. So number one, you have to be protected. What you worked hard for must stay in your hands, in your account. Number two, you need to have a source of income, because when you go into retirement, where are you going to get your income? Where is that going to come from?
Great point.
And for a lot of people right now, they're thinking, well, you know what? Even money markets now are paying 5%. You know, we feel much more comfortable. Well, what's going to happen when the Fed lowers rates? Those are going to go down. This is an opportunity that we haven't seen for a long time, so a lot of money has gone into these money market funds.
Let me comment on that for a second.
Sure.
You don't just go into a money market if you think the market's going to go down, though, because that's a guess, right?
Sure it is.
It's being able to identify when. It is an option, but it's when to do that, and people are making the wrong decisions on when to do that.
Right, and the reason people do it is because they look at the risk part of it. Well, here I can get 5% with no risk. If I invest in a treasury of some sort, whatever the yield is, that's risk-free. It is if you hold it to maturity. But when interest rates go down, you know, you may not be able to, re-up those interest-paying assets that you have at that kind of a level. It's going to go down. So then what do? Do you go into the riskier assets? No. There are, again, you have to protect what you have. You have to have a source of income, but you also have to have some exposure to the market, because if you are going into retirement with the possibility of living another 20, 30, 40 years, the only way you're going to make it financially, we believe, is to have some exposure to the market. We've actually put together a strategy, and we'll talk about it in these classes that Josh mentioned, a strategic investor strategy, which is designed with those three components. It's a protection, number one, it's an income source, constant income source, and then also exposure to the market. We actually manage portfolios that we give you access to as a student, where you can just make the same changes that we make. But there are opportunities for you to go into retirement to have the potential for above average returns with protection, but you have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to fall into the trap that most people are in, where they're investing, they don't have the money to invest because they didn't put something aside, or they're investing in something that gives mediocre returns with the exposure to full drawdowns when the market crashes or corrects.
Yeah.
Those are the things you have to eliminate.
Let me ask you a question, because you might remember this a little bit better than I will, and it'll come full circle here, I think, as we talk about it. Back in we'll say the 80s, maybe even the 90s, what were a lot of people doing or investing in? It was because those interest rates were so high, right?
Right.
So people were actually getting a decent interest rate. Now, what do you think an interest rate was back then? Do you remember that at all?
Well, back in the 80s, we had interest rates that were up close to 20%.
Okay, so if someone's able to get 20% on their money, that's what a lot of baby boomers think that what you're supposed to do at all times. Well, interest rates now are low; they're considerably low historically, but they still have that mindset of, oh, I'm going to put it in and get interest on it. If you think about it, if you're getting, what is it? What is a potential rate right now? 4.5%, 5%. What's inflation at? I mean, you're not making anything.
So if you're looking at 3.5% inflation, you take that away from that 5%. You know, that doesn't leave a lot. And also, if there are any fees involved, that takes away from it too. So you're lucky if you're getting 1 or 2%.
Yeah, and take an easy number, $100,000 on that. I'll let you do the math on this. Let's just go on the high end. What's 2% of $100,000? Can you do that math?
Well, it's not very much. That's for sure. It's like $2,000.
There you go. So, as my good friend Ron Burgundy says, actually not Ron Burgundy, my good friend Jim Carrey says, whoopity-doo. What is that going to do for you? And that's why there are strategies to do things a little bit differently. So you're not doing a strategy that worked in the 80s. I'm not sure if all of our listeners know, but I'm going to throw something out there for them. It's 2024. It's not 1985. right? So we need to have strategies for today, not yesterday. And that's why our strategies continue to evolve with the markets. That's why we're continuing over 26 years. It's not the same, it's a same concept, but it's not the same exact strategy from 26 years ago. We have to evolve with the markets. And that's the great thing about the Academy here is you're able to see that, evolve with it. So that way, hopefully, you evolve with that as well financially. And that's the goal, is for that to be your goal. You have to take action and follow it. If you don't follow it, no, it's not going to work. Is everybody going to do it? No. But you know what? You won't know unless you start and at least try it out. So that's why you have investing classes. Simply text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for an investing class to see what these strategies are, to see what your opportunities are. Al, let's hear the old OTA tip of the week.
Well, Josh, some people want different things to happen. Some people wish different things would happen. And other people make different things happen. So look, if your family's financial security has a high level of importance to you and you want to make that security happen, make this year, 2024, the year you decide not to follow the herd, not to be average, but the year you decide to take advantage of your potential and the opportunities currently being presented. At the Academy, we'd be honored to help you make that happen, but it's up to you to take the first step.
Yeah, it's time to step outside that box and do things a little bit differently. Don't be a sheeple, be your own person. Text investing to the number 210 to see what these strategies that we're talking about are, what the opportunities are. As always, same time, same place next week. Until next time, retire young, my friends.